What do you think of? What goes through the Bill Cowher temples when you hear out of Western PA, Mike Tomlin's got to go? Bill?
Well, unfortunately, I think that happens when you, again, set the bar really high. And I've been there before. I mean, I know I went to the playoffs my first 6 years, and you go to a Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you go to the championship games, and you lose all the championship games. And the longer you're in it, sometimes you become a victim of your own success and the expectation and all of your messages getting old. So, listen, I think the biggest thing for Mike, the noise on the outside is a lot greater than the noise on the inside. And I think, again, he's a guy that he thrives in those conditions. He thrives on being the underdog and being kind of challenged and like being backed into a corner. I think you're seeing the same thing a little bit with Aaron Rodgers, a little bit of a chip on their shoulders, and they've aligned themselves. And so this is a football team. Again, it's interesting, Rich, when you talk about this game, because you talk about the Houston Texans. They got the longest winning streak coming in. Then everyone talks about the Houston Texans being a team that nobody wants to play. But then let's just look on the other side. The Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. The last time they lost was 1991. Okay? That was Chuck. I never lost in my 15 years. Mike's never lost in his 19 years. So Houston may not be the team you want to play in the playoffs, but Pittsburgh may not be the team you want to play on Monday night. So we'll see. Something's going to have to give here.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much contact you have with Mike, but and I understand outside noise doesn't get in the building, but it's been very noisy outside of that building. All it took also was just one loss in Cleveland in week 17 to bring it back up prior to the week 18 finale that the Steelers won for various reasons, from obviously that missed field goal at the end, but Aaron Rodgers having the best quarter of his Steelers year for sure. And so it does feel like if it doesn't go their way on Monday night, there'd be another conversation about should this be the end of the road in Pittsburgh, Bill. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think those are the hypotheticals that exist every year. And I think the one thing is that Pittsburgh is not impulsive. I think that Mike's not impulsive. I think you take some time, you step away, and then you just see what's in the best interest of everybody. I think if Mike leaves, it's going to be a choice that he has. I think the same can be said about John Harbaugh. I think these are two coaches that have been in the same place for a very long period of time. They've had tremendous success, and they've earned the right to be able to say, you know what, and if you think the message is still, but they still have, you see their teams performing, you see their teams responding in the biggest of stages, and that could very easily have been John Harbaugh walking off the other day if the kid makes the kick. So, again, these guys have had sustained success. They're very, very good coaches. They've been integral parts of these organizations. So those aren't always easy conversations to have. And I think I always would like to give people 24, 48 hours when it's all said and done, let the emotions get out of it, have a chance to sit back and reflect, and let's just sit down and have conversations about moving forward. Where are we going to go, the directions we need to go, the things that need to be done, and do I want to be a part of that process? And if it's sometimes, as you talked about, you said, down in Washington, there's a party in ways. You sit there with, Dan Quinn, and all of a sudden you have their offensive coordinator, Kingsbury, and they're going to meet and say maybe it's time for change. And so, listen, I had to make a lot of changes on staff down through my 15 years. And I sometimes didn't have the numbers to quantify the change outside of the fact that I just felt like we needed to have change in the building. And that doesn't always just apply to assistant coaches. It can apply to head coaches as well. So, and they may be prompted by the head coach. So again, I think those are things that when you're on the inside, and there's a lot of things that are involved with it. And I think, again, when you're involved with the playoffs, you're not listening to that because you're kind of on this one-track mind right now because you're this close. You put in too much time and effort to talk about that. But I think when it's all said and done at the end of the season, taking at least 48, 72 hours off, then come back and talk about it, remove the emotion, don't become impulsive in saying something or doing something that you really haven't put a lot of thought into. So I think that'll be the thing that'll happen, I think, in Pittsburgh. And again, whenever it does end, and probably the thing that's taking place right now, even in Baltimore.
Well, I mean, yeah. Do you have any insight on how you obviously do. Can you lend me any insight on how the Rooneys operate on this front from that side of things with their remarkable level of patience and Do they stay completely out of it? Are there no such conversations on this front during the playing season?
No, during the season, no. I mean,
right.
and for what reason? I mean,
right.
During the season, we're just trying to win a game. I mean, the next week. So that is not taking place. But in the off seasons, and even on years that we had losing seasons, we took some time off, and I did. Like I said, I told you, we took 48, 72 hours.
Right.
You have the exit meetings that took place. You're talking to the players, you're talking to the coaches, and then at the end of that week, after you had a week off, 3 or 4 days, let's sit down and talk. When everyone's out of the building, we give everybody else off the rest of the week. Let's come in and sit down in this office and kind of get some talk about where are we. Can we agree on how we want to move forward? Do we want to move forward together?
Did you have those conversations with the Rooneys at one point? Do we want to move forward together? I mean, did you have that?
Well,
during your tenure?
I don't think it was actually said that way.
Right.
But I think there's implications as to where are we. I mean, there's some moves that we want to make, and can you agree with these moves? And so there's a lot of conversations about, again, change that may want to be had, and can you agree on that change moving forward? Same conversations you talk about putting a team together, a staff together. There's always going to be back and forth, and you kind of want everyone to have their own separate opinion. It's not just one person saying doing it this way. So there's got to be, again, a chance to reflect and to get on what just took place, and a chance to ponder moving forward where you want to go, and and how strongly you feel about certain things.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.